Hey guys, here's the gear for today. We've got Gratiot League Square, the soap from Declaration Grooming, with the scent developed by Chatillon Luxe. It's a French word, and it kind of comes from the St. Louis area, where in America a lot of French settlers and stuff are, and so that's why we are dealing with French issues, French language with a lot of the Chatillon Luxe stuff. Man, it took a while to get used to that when I first came into this hobby. You know, Chatillon Luxe is kind of how it looks, but that is how you say it, Chatillon Luxe. And we are going to be using the Gillette 365 blade. I've been very happy with. I believe it's one from the Indian market. And here is the tuck box. Got it from Black Friday, Maggard Razors. One tuck of that for like $1 or something, and I'd never tried those out. I've been very happy with that blade in many different razors, and we're going to try it in another one. I don't believe I've used this Razorock Game Changer. This is the first gap that they ever came out with, which is the 84, and it's, as you can see, the solid bar. Very, very good razor. If you're looking at a premium material razor, then like stainless steel probably, or brass is going to be the way to look if you don't want to spend tons of money on titanium. Then a good starting point are either the Vetiver razors or the Game Changer from Razorock. Matter of fact, that's why they called it the Game Changer, because for the much lower price, you could get a full stainless steel razor when compared to other more expensive vendors like Timeless and Charcoal Goods and Wolfman and those types of folks. Anyway, very good razor, smooth for me almost always. So I'm looking forward to using it. I found it in a little travel pouch and I hadn't used it in a while, so I'm looking forward to it. I've had this soaking a little bit. This is a That Darn Rob handle, and he is a Chisel and Hound now. And the knot here, I believe, is a B4, and I love that particular knot. We're going to get it back in to soak, get those tips wet. He's been soaking for 6 minutes, 8 minutes maybe. Let's get the blade in the razor. On certain parts, like the middle of the face of the razor, it supports the edge very closely even from the bottom. But you can see if you look underneath other parts, it does not get as close to the edge on the bottom. But this is a pretty smooth shaving razor. And so a lot of times that means you have good support. And so maybe the little support that it does have in the middle here is what it needs to make it work really well. And if I take off the handle, see through the ovals, you can see that top cap. And so that all that top cap that you can see, that means that's no support at that point for the bottom of the blade, and you can see that now. Here's that face. So you've got support for the blade edge on the underside, in the middle, and on the very edges, and then a little bit backed off, from the edge along or here and there. But it's they did their research, and it's a great combination. It works really well in so many cases. This is like the Wolfman Gorilla and some other razors that have the posts built into the base plate, and that is strange because that doesn't match a lot of other razors out there. And so sometimes it can be a little awkward because you're not used to it. At this point, when you're trying to put the top cap on, the blade can conceivably kind of pop out of place, but I mean, you get used to it. It's not really a big deal. And if it does hop up, you kind of wiggle it a little bit, and it just snaps right in. Never had an issue with it. So there we go. And if I look at it, the blade overhang there, even in places like in the middle and the sides where I said it comes close to the edge, it doesn't come too close to the edge like a Timeless razor or a Wolfman. I think I'm probably looking at maybe 3 millimeters of overhang, and then more overhang in those oval areas I was talking about. But I don't know, somehow they figured something out, some kind of secret, you know. And so sometimes that illustrates the fact that you really have to try things out in many cases, because there are exceptions out there to the rules. Let me get my face wet. I've got a lot of stuff to do tonight, and so I did not have time to research and give you the description of the scent here that I'll be using, the Gratiot League Square. It's got a bunch of manly notes, and I really enjoy it. Let's see if they put a little bit on the label here. Sometimes they do. Not this time. Oh, but like leather and amber and kind of some woody notes. It's a very manly scent to me. I'm very happy about that. And so when this was used, and it's got maybe 40-50% of the soap left, I don't mind buying used soap since it is soap. And if you're concerned that maybe the person who used it before you is unclean or, you know, something, then if you're too concerned about that, then just don't buy used soap. But just take any old brush, get it wet, and, you know, clean the soap, rinse it out, and you're good to go. But soap here, shaving soap also, is a very inhospitable environment for the growth of bacteria. And so that's why you can often put soaps on the shelf for a very long time and you won't experience mold issues, generally speaking, because it's just a hard place for mold to grow. And also, anytime if you do see a hair or something in a used soap, almost always, it's a brush hair that has come off of the brush, and it's not a person hair, you know? Anyway, I'm a big fan of used soap because you can save a ton of money and have a nice big variety of soap. But your own level of OCD, your own level of preference is obviously what you should follow there. If you're bothered by the thought that somebody might have used that soap, then just stick with new soaps, and that'll be just fine. Especially soaps like Sterling are great, even if you have to buy them new, because they last so long that it's a budget soap, because you'll get many uses, generally speaking. I personally get over a year's worth of shaves from one 5.8 ounce tub of Sterling soap. And that's with bowl lathering. It helps you conserve lather a little bit. With the face lathering, you wash a lot of it off, and so you have to use more. But that's with bowl lathering. You can really go far on your money. Face is wet. The razor is ready to go. We will do the slurry lather today, and we'll use this before not. It's been plenty soaking, plenty wet. And the water has worked its way into the fibers, so we're going to get a nice plush, soft experience from the brush tips. And so let's load. And I've used Milksteak before with the slurry lather method. Won't be a problem. Very good with that method. 6, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 approximately. And we have a little bit of that kind of slurry water that has been released from the brush in the tub there. You don't always need that. It's not mandatory. I poured that into a bowl I have down here. The brush still has tons of water in it. And we will, one thing you could do, you can kind of take some of the suds that were on the outside of the container that might normally be washed away, and kind of use that to start your face, start to get you familiar with the scent. I really like this scent. I've got the splash that I recently got in with this soap, and I also got the cologne. Oh, now the cologne lasts for hours and hours and hours. And so that's really why I bought this particular used group of items, is because the splash is just meant to kind of nourish, to be an antiseptic for your skin after the shave, but not really to provide scent for a long time after the shave. Generally, an hour, hour and a half might be on average what you should expect to receive in terms of scent strength scent duration, longevity for a splash. Even if you got half an hour, I wouldn't really be surprised if that was the case. That's just not what it's made for. And so if you want to go further than that, then that's what the cologne is for. And the splash for Declaration Grooming looks like this. And the cologne, I don't think this is a scent that they make. I think they shut it down. And so that was another reason I went ahead and made this purchase. Before, it was really hard to find. I knew that I liked the scent quite a bit. And so the cologne is something that could potentially last 14 hours, depending on the maker and the scent and all that stuff. All right, let's get going with this shave. A little bit of slurry starting to develop there. We'll see if I loaded for long enough. Kind of looks like it. I have. Some soaps would already be done with that first slurry. And I would be shaving by now. But this is a very dense brush. There's less room for water. And it also might not pick up as much soap. And it could also be that this soap hasn't been used in such a long time that it may need some waking up before it starts to be a little faster on the pickup. So I think we're ready to go. You can always test, feel your face, feel that slickness. It's not a mature lather at all, right? But it is very slick. This method, the slurry lather method that I've called it, is great if you're on the go, if you are in a hurry, you don't have a lot of time. Oh man, see, what a great cutter. I do feel the blade just a little bit. Very comfortable. That's just a terrific design for that head. The blade is kind of hanging out there, but it's doing it in a way that is, comfortable. You don't hear a lot of blade chatter like you might from a DE89 type or the Merkur Progress or the Parker variant. They're kind of scrapey sounding. A little quick splash of water now. It's twice now that I've knocked one of my balms off the counter. Okay, second slurry method here. The slurry. Second pass. And now the lather that's in the brush is starting to develop a little bit more. And you can see that. You can have a long slurry lather shave. You don't have to make it a short one. The point of the slurry is that you are starting out with a lot of water, even if it's a little drippy, because that water is the secret to the slickness. Starting out with a lot of water instead of starting out with a lot of soap and adding water gradually, which is a common face lathering practice. I'm not saying either one's right or wrong, but it's just a different one, and this one I kind of like a lot better for my purposes. Can move quickly because of the slickness here with all that water. Most soaps that I've tried are able to give plenty of slickness even though the lather is not mature. Like if you do want luxury, if you want creaminess, then you'll get that with this method, but usually around the third pass. That's when you'll get that kind of mature experience. But like I said, this is a quick method. This is more suitable for that. If you want that luxury feel, you may want to spend more time with a bowl, bringing your lather up to maturity, or on your face, bringing it up at that first pass. But then that's going to be a slower method, and that's fine if that's what you want. Okay, a little water splash now, because that was a quick pass. Couple days growth on my face today before I started. Now I can press a little bit more firmly to kind of get a good action here. Now, I told you I put the water kind of in the bowl there, and one of the disadvantages to doing that, I think, could be that it might make those your lather a little slower to develop, but because it keeps kind of wetting your tips and keeping that mature lather from coming up. But in this case, I think it's probably because of the loading. Although in a way the loading's perfect. I've got 3 passes of great slick lather on my face now, and probably some left here in the brush. Not tons of soap left in the brush, but some. And so in a way I've been very efficient with my soap usage. I've kind of only loaded as much as I really needed. And so that's good for conservation. It's good for speed. But like I said, it's not quite as good if you're looking for that luxurious feel. However, this razor is moving quickly because of the slickness. It feels great. It feels like I'm using a high quality razor and blade. It feels like I've got a nice close shave. So, yet another razor that this 365 blade works well in. The 68 is a Game Changer base plate that is more mild than this one, and for me it's so mild that it was actually really tough to find blades that weren't too mild for me. I kept getting to the end of the shave, and I had plenty of hairs that were left uncut. It was just too mild for me, and that's saying something, because I love mild razors. I like the slickness that they have, the smoothness and comfort of the mild razor, but the good mild razors are still very efficient and give you a great shave. But that 68 was just too mild, but that's okay for some people because they need a more mild razor than me. So that I definitely point those people to the 68 gap of the Game Changer. And this is the Italian Barber or Razorock handle that you can purchase at the same time if you want to. And I think it's called the Barber Pole handle. No, knurled or super knurled, something like that. I find it very practical. I think it's pretty. It has great knurling in the sense of it's not too aggressive. You don't feel like it's sandpapering your skin, but it never falters in terms of the grip, even when wet and soapy. I always have good grip. So it's pretty and functional at the same time. I like it a lot. And there we go. Get a good rinse now. Another reason used soap can generally be regarded as pretty safe is because typically, just like in my example, I visited the soap once before the shave. The brush had not yet touched my skin when I did the loading. And then I set this aside, and so a brush that's been all over my face with stubble won't touch that tub. Yeah, sometimes you do have to revisit the tub later. But again, just your own level of OCD or your own level of pickiness is what you should go by as to whether or not to choose used soap or not. Just the other day, I used Gratiot League Square as the salve. And this is an older product, and so I do have now the aftershave products in both formats, the salve and the splash. Today, just for grins, we'll use the splash. I do like how Declaration Grooming has started in recent years to include a small vial of the menthol drops because they realize not everyone loves menthol in their aftershave splashes. I'm so happy because I am not one of those people. Those menthol drops can just go right into the garbage can or maybe sit aside for given to a friend someday. So there we go. It will have a little bit of a alcohol smell at first. A little bit of sting, especially if you've been a little rough on your face. But this Game Changer head is not rough on me at all. And again, the 365 blade has just been terrific on this razor also. This is a popular question, what should you do with your soap at the end of the shave? Some people are so OCD, are so picky about bacteria that they leave their soap opened for 24 hours to make sure that air evaporates and there's no moisture. Me, during the shave, I'll have it open on the counter. After the shave, I cap it up. My priority is the scent and preserving that. If I leave it open all day, the scent strength is going to reduce. And then why even have scented soap? Might as well use unscented, right? And I've never had an issue with that level of moisture that I'm capturing in there causing any kind of mold problems. I've just never had, and many of my soaps have sat around for years, and so surely something would have happened by now. But like I said, a soap is a really tough place for bacteria to grow. Later on, after I'm done cleaning up and stuff, I'll put on some of this cologne, Gratiot League Square. And yeah, product made in St. Louis, Missouri, in the USA. Sean Maher is the guy behind Chatillon Luxe, and he does such a great job with scents. I like so many of his scents. So let's just do some cleanup now. And here we go. The brush having been kind of slung out in the sink to free the big drops out of the brush, and then stropped up and down on the towel, and he'll dry just fine sitting on his butt. All right, so I have got some work to do tonight, and I purposely shaved right now because I wanted that scent, this wonderful GLS scent, to be around me as I was working and moving around. And when I put cologne on, I don't put it on my neck. I put it on my wrists, and that helps me not to go nose blind to it. It's easy to go nose blind to a scent if it's too close to your face because you're smelling it all the time. If you put it just on your wrists, then whenever you're moving around, your hand comes up to your face to adjust your glasses, or whatever you do, then all of a sudden the scent can come and go from your nose. And I've been able to enjoy scents like that, even from lower quality scent perfumers like Sterling. For 14, 15 hours, I've just experienced those scents for a much longer time frame. So I'm definitely a big fan of having those scents go away and then come back, instead of staying and then me getting used to them. And after about 45 minutes, you never smell them again because you get used to them. So that's my particular preference. Rinse out the razor here. Everything is clean. We are good. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, Gratiot League Square, with the soap, the splash, and a little bit later on the cologne. And checking out the slurry lather with a Mlkstk soap. I already knew that it was good, but it was good. That is a dense knot, and I've noticed the dense knots don't quite work with the slurry lather quite as wonderfully as like a more regularly dense knot, like a boar like this one, or a 3-band badger. Those are just kind of instantly easy to work with because they hold more water. Anyway, it would probably go better tomorrow since we've left a little bit of moisture here on this soap. So that would probably help soap pick up tomorrow if I were to do that. So now I get to enjoy this scent all night while I'm working, doing stuff, and that'll be fun. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.